ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमहायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ So, welcome all of you to this Labor Day camp. The topic which we'll be discussing in 3 days is a freedom from mortality. And it's a universal goal for any human being. Everyone who is born here wants a freedom. That's first. In that also the priority is freedom from mortality. One wants to live a life independently. With a freedom, one wants to live. But the priority is freedom from mortality. One struggles to gain this freedom. So we should look into the goal of life. And this is a basic question. What is the goal of life? Right? What is the goal of life? That question, the person who is born here and who is quite serious about life, one who wants to achieve something in this life, will ask this question. There are people who may ask here and there just for the sake of conversation, what is the goal of life? Let this Swami tell something. But people like us, all of us, wants an answer for this. If you ask a Swami, what is the goal of life, O Swami? Swami says to see God, to reach God. If you ask a theologian, well, he will say, first I want to get rid of this original sin and all other sins and want to go heaven later. One thing is certain, death cannot be the goal of life. If death is the goal of life, why should I be born? Because after death also, I won't be in this form, right? What I'm having, that form won't be there. But then the same situation exists before birth also. So then taking birth and will achieve a state which really exists even before birth, then there is no point in that. Therefore, death cannot be the goal of life. Heaven cannot be the goal of life, because if heaven is a goal of life, why should I be born here? I should directly go there. Right? Heaven cannot be the goal of life. Well, therefore the goal of life should be in this life, not in any other place. Right? Neither death, neither any other place. Goal of life should be something in this life. Well, Swami, marriage is a goal of life. But then we find the married people are still struggling to achieve some goal. Therefore, the marriage itself is not the final goal of life. Is it true or not? Because they themselves are struggling. If you ask a married person, he will say, well, I want to achieve something. So marriage can be a means to achieve a goal. Marriage itself is not a goal. Somebody asked a question, is marriage a word or a sentence? You know the answer, right? It can be a meaningful word, or it can be a sentence for a life. Yeah. Marriage is a means, a beautiful means in life to grow. So, well, the goal of life is living. That's what we find in this creation. Every organism is born to live. Therefore, living is a goal of life. Every organism which is born here, either a tree, as a sapling, or a calf, or even an insect, all are born to live. But then what is living? We are going towards freedom from mortality, okay? Yeah. So living is a goal of life. But then what is living? Well, breathing. What are you telling, Swami? We are not here to hear this kind of a thing. Living is a goal of life. Means breathing is a goal of life. Kya baat hai? No. There is a purpose. There is a purpose in it. So when we observe the creation, we find that when an organism is born, it is not adequately mature to begin living. When a calf is born, it's not mature enough to live a life of a cow. In order to live a life of a cow, which is a full life, it has to grow. After taking birth, it has to grow into an adult. Therefore, living is a goal of life. But then what is living? Living is to grow. To grow. To become mature is a goal of life. Well, let's not talk about human being right now. Again, let's concentrate on this calf who is born now with a physical body, which is a baby body. And its aim is to live, to make a life as a cow, for which it must grow to become an adult. And if a calf is born just to die away, we will say the life is a waste. So, to live means to become adult, to grow. If a calf becomes a cow, and then it dies, we say, well, it has lived its life. So the purpose in the creation is, of course, in the creation means any organism which is born to live, to become, to grow, to become mature. So far as calf is concerned, well, it has nothing to do much to become mature. What it has to do is to survive its body. That's it, nothing else. For which it has to eat. For which that is also programmed, what is to be eaten. If it keeps eating and jump around, that calf, one day it finds it's a mature cow, ready to give an offspring, ready to give a milk. Please remember these my words. An adult cow is a contributor. Calf is a consumer. Calf is a grabber. the adult cow, that's adulthood, which contributes. Every organism in this creation is designed, after birth, is designed to grow, to become adult, and as an adult, contributes. Take another example. Take even a mango sapling. Consumes. You have to take care. You have to give water, manure, everything. Consumes. When it becomes a tree, it gives everything. It gives wood, it gives shade, it gives flowers, fruits, everything, leaves. Well, we'll say this mango plant, mango tree has lived a full life. So what is the goal? Living. Living doesn't mean breathing. Living means to grow, to become mature. So far as a calf is concerned, it grows physically, biologically, to become adult, also grows psychologically. A cow is a biologically and psychologically, emotionally, an adult. That's how we never distinguish. When many cows are there, you don't distinguish. Swamiji, this is a emotionally immature cow, and this is an emotionally mature cow. It is in the design of the nature. All other organisms, they grow physically as well as emotionally, except a human being. Because human being is given a free will, and therefore he has to initiate this emotional growth. Let's talk first about a human being which is also born as a baby. The physical body has to grow to metamorphose into an adult, for which he need not do anything special. Nature takes care of it. The nature which has given a birth to the human body takes care of its growth. Only thing is, you should, as a human being, as a child, you should see that your body survives. For that you have to eat food. You eat food and, jump around, and you find one day you are ready to shave. You don't need any special thing, special effort to grow beard. I'm talking about a man. Doesn't. It just grows. It becomes adult. That's a design in the nature. Yeah, it's designed. Yeah, you have to put a lot of efforts to get education and everything. You have to put a lot of efforts. But to become adult physically, you need not have to do. Keep eating and jump around. You are ready for marriage. Yeah. But so this is the life, do you think? Living is to grow, to become physically adult. Do you think this is sufficient? Or is a growth, emotional growth is required to enjoy the life? We'll see that. That opens up a pursuit, especially for the human being. We'll see that. Anyway, so there must be an emotional maturity. Just physical growth, and you are living with this physical growth is a drag. Is merely a drag. And one is one's emotion, basically. And therefore, no matter what you're learning, etc., or understanding, it doesn't seem to have any bearing upon your day-to-day responses to the world. Living means what? Living means relating to the world. The person who is on the coma in the hospital, we never say he is living. We say he is alive. We never say he is living a life. Living means to relate to the world. And when you relate to the world, you're always your emotions come on the way. So your day-to-day response is based on your emotions. And therefore, basically the gap between one's understanding and the actual day-to-day living, well, is a problem. We have a lot of understanding, but when we respond to the world, our maturity, emotional maturity really counts. And this gap between the response to the world and my own understanding is beautifully expressed by Duryodhana in a very famous verse you know also. Janami dharmam nachame pravuttihi, janami adharmam nachame nivrittihi, kenapi devena hridisthitena, yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. So I know what is right, but I cannot pursue it. I know what is wrong, but I cannot desist from doing it. I do as directed by someone who seems to be within me. Reveals a certain helplessness in responding to the situation. That helplessness is called emotional immaturity. Not only Duryodhana, such same helplessness is expressed in a Bhagavad Gita by Arjuna also. Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichannapi varshne baladiva niyojitah. In 3rd chapter, 36th verse. So, O Varshneya, O Krishna, impelled by what does this man commit sin even against his wish? Even he knows what is right. Same thing. As though being impelled by some force. Again, helplessness. So our day-to-day responses, whether they are healthy or unhealthy, depends upon the adulthood one has. Right? Physically mature. Emotionally may not be adult. Yeah. And so, basically, we do not seem to grow, we seem to remain the same. No matter what our intellectual accomplishments are, emotionally we seem to remain immature, insecure. We seem to be helpless. No one consciously get angry, right? Even if I tell you to get angry for 1 minute, you are not able to. It is not that you are free from anger. Yeah. Anger comes to you. Yeah. Anger comes to you, you find yourself angry in a situation, it just happens, reveals a certain helplessness. In your response, you find anger, helplessness, emotional immaturity. In your response to the world, you find yourself sad. You don't want to be sad. If I tell you that deliberately you be sad for 3 minutes, you will not be able to do. But sadness happens, helplessness, emotional immaturity. You find yourself depressed, right? You don't want to be depressed. If I tell you to go into depression deliberately, consciously, you cannot. But that comes. You find yourself a victim of that. Helpless, emotional immaturity. You find yourself fearful, afraid of separation, afraid of loneliness, afraid of isolation, or fear of being nobody. All these are there. Fear of lack of future, fear of death, which we are going to talk, and fear of void. In your life, living with a partner, and even the idea of the other person goes away. It is going to happen. The very idea itself creates a fear. Right? And you find yourself what? Helpless. Emotional immaturity. All these are indications. While responding to the world, either anger, either sadness, either fear, either anxiety, either worry, all reveal I have not yet become emotionally adult, even though physical adulthood is there. That's nature has taken care of. nature leaves you. Ishvara leaves you after making you physically adult. Because Ishvara says, I have given you a freedom to grow emotionally or not. It's up to you. So one has to initiate this. That's the goal of life, to become emotionally mature. Anyway, so basically this helplessness is what we call emotional immaturity. Physically, biologically, a person is adult, but emotionally he or she is something else. Whereas a cow is programmed to be adult all the way, physically as well as emotionally, psychologically also. Anyway, and so basically to grow emotionally, well, one who is called this emotionally a grown person, well, one who is he is a mature person who basically accepts the fact and be alive to the realities of the life. That is called emotionally mature person. Our response is anger and other things, sadness and all that, is because of the resistance of not accepting the facts, resistance towards the facts. So to live my life is to become mature, and to be mature means to be alive to the facts, which before when I respond to the world, I should see certain facts in my life, I should accept it, I should be alive to that. Then my emotional response will not be in the form of reactions, all this anger, etc. And this world basically is a setup. It is not created by me. It is something which is there, which is given. And I happen to respond to that. I happen to confront it. And I look at this world, basically, two things are there. I can look at this world as it is, or I can look at this world, well, based on my own anxieties, fears, insecurities, right? That is there in the mind. So I look at the world as it is, or I look at the world based on my fears and anxieties and insecurities, etc. So in fact, everyone, well, lives in his or her own world, a world which one projects based on one's insecurities, etc. And one doesn't see more than one knows, and one's fears and anxiety basically set one's perception of the world, and then responses also. And so what is the source of these anxieties and fears for which I am helpless? And you say you are emotionally immature. What is the source of it ultimately? I want to become emotionally mature. Then for that sake, these anxieties, fears, or the worries, or the anger, jealousy, everything, should it get reduced? Well, in Bhagavad Gita, there is a clear presentation of the source of all these anxieties, fears, etc. The source is given there. And what is the source? Well, it says this thing which definitely colors and distorts your perception of the world is these two factors. One is a raga, other is a dvesha. What is raga? Well, I have a raga for the object. When I consider it as a desirable, because in its presence I become more happy, more secure, then I say I have a raga towards, I like towards that object. So dvesha is just the opposite, the dislike for an object in whose presence, in whose or experiencing that or possessing that, I feel there is a threat to my happiness or security. Then I have a dislike towards that. So I want to definitely, these are the raga and dvesha, which basically only manifest in the form of all these anxieties and worries and etc. that vitiate the perception of the world and my responses to the world, in which I find ultimately helpless of my emotions, and I am called emotionally immature person. And therefore, definitely, even though physically I have grown and I am living, but I am really not enjoying the life. And so, this raga and dveshas are there, and the raga means like, as I told you. So I want to acquire and possess a thing for which I have a raga, and want to get rid of it, or want to avoid it, for which I have a dvesha. So whole our life ultimately is an expression of this raga dvesha. Whole our life. Life means to relate. And in relating, well, they always vitiate our perception in terms of anxieties and fears and insecurities and anger, etc. So when there is a raga for a thing, well, you want to acquire it. And you don't, which you don't have presently, and it could be anything. That is what we call two purusharthas, and that is artha. Artha means certain objects of security which will definitely, by acquiring which, I will feel myself more secure. And there are certain objects of pleasure, well, by acquiring them, possessing them, I feel that I will be more happy. So we have two goals of life based on my own ragadvesha. In fact, to fulfill my ragadveshas, I have two goals. And it could be anything. This arthakama pursuits could be anything, starting from I want to acquire a job, I want to retain job, I want to retain health, which is there. Or it could be I want to retain my hair, yeah, which is not there now. So I want to retain my health. I want to retain my usefulness in a given setup. We should understand ragadvesha means we feel that likes, dislikes towards some gross object. Need not be. Need not be. Yeah. So these are called ragas. And so for that we struggled. To retain my hair, I must have struggled a lot. Okay? Yeah. To retain health, my God, what a struggle. Once you reduce your weight to a expected, then to retain that weight of the body, my God. The people who are doing, I know, they have to run several miles a day. They have to eat a food which we even don't like to see. All this. This is all raga. Raga for maintaining. I want to possess health, maintain the health, etc. Same way, certain things I want to avoid. And, avoiding what? Headache. I don't want headache. Yeah, the person who has a migraine or something, you should see them, how much struggle they do in the morning. Headache should not come. If it comes in morning, once it comes, it doesn't go. It doesn't go. Whatever the medicines, your painkillers you take, it doesn't go. So there's the dvesha, etc. So, you want to avoid it. Anyway, a disease, you want to avoid it. So we put a lot of efforts to keep away certain things. And certain things which are already there, you want to get rid of it. That's how, all our washing clothes and etc., or cleaning the floor, etc., cleaning the garbage is what? We want to get rid of. The dirt, dust, garbage. Certain things we want to avoid, disease, etc., headache, etc. Certain things we want to get rid of also, which is already there. So basically, in order to fulfill my ragadvesha, likes and dislikes, I struggle, put a lot of efforts, and try to achieve the objects which can fulfill. These two purusharthas are called artha and kama. And moreover, there is nothing right or wrong in having likes and dislikes. Basically, these likes and dislikes themselves are acquired while growing up in a certain environment. You automatically pick up. The environment which consists of a certain culture. You have a certain likes and dislikes because you are brought up or born in a certain culture. Or you are brought up with a certain religion. Then you have certain likes and dislikes. And then you are born and brought up in a certain family. You have a certain types of likes and dislikes. certain education. So one is born with likes and dislikes. And in any age of a human life, any age, there are certain likes and dislikes which are fulfilled. And there are many more not fulfilled. Not fulfilled. Even I remember as a child, I wanted to be the first in every game, as well as wanted to be first even in, in exams, etc. It doesn't happen. One has to compromise, right? Many of the, and as a child, I wanted so many things. And parents said, this is a thing, we can give it to you. This, not this. So as a child, as a young adult, as even a mature person, as a married person, as a middle-aged person, several likes and dislikes I have fulfilled. And even after a fulfillment of likes and dislikes, acquiring arthakama, many are unfulfilled, mutilated, bleeding. All this come in terms of anxiety, anger, jealousy, hatred, depression, sadness. Could you follow? Unfulfilled raga dvesha. There is not a single person in this world who has fulfilled all likes and dislikes. One cannot fulfill because one is always is in want of a more knowledge and more power, which a human being doesn't have. Therefore, you might have fulfilled many likes and dislikes, but many more are yet unfulfilled, sitting here, creating all issues. It manifests, say, unfulfilled raga dvesha only manifest in the form of, these are the shades. Anger is a shade of unfulfilled likes and dislikes. The hatred, the jealousy, the sense of competition, the worry, the anxiety, the fear, all this. And that manifests in my response to the world. That vitiates my perception of the world. Therefore, I am not really alive to the fact. I am not seeing the world as it is. My vision, my perception is totally vitiated, colored. That's how word raga is there. Word raga indicates a color. In Gujarati, we have word rangaha. Same thing. Same dhatu, I mean. Same dhatu. Ranj dhatu is there. Ranj means to color. So raga dvesha colors my vision of the world. I remain away from the reality revealed by the Shastra. What is world is told by Shastra. But raga dveshas are there. Nowhere near to take or to be alive to that vision. No. One who is free from raga dvesha becomes more objective. We call is a prepared person for knowledge. Yeah. So, then what is to be done? Okay, you have said that you are emotionally immature, etc. You are not, but I'm just saying like that. Otherwise, you won't be there tomorrow. What is to be done? You have to handle what? Raga dvesha. Then you should have a certain pursuit which can give you a joy, because that's ultimate pursuit. Right? Arthakama pursuit is for what? Becoming more secure, more happy. Now you say Arthakama basically fulfills raga dvesha, nourishes raga dvesha, but that create all issues. More I fulfill, more unfulfilled things comes out. Therefore, I remain emotionally immature. I really don't enjoy the life. I have not grown up in my life. Okay. I want to keep a pursuit of a joy at the same time, while I should not nourish my raga dvesha. Is there a pursuit? Yeah, that's a pursuit. It's also a pursuit of happiness. Yeah. Pursuit of happiness by doing something. Yeah, by doing something. By sharing. By living a life of harmony. By reaching out. Being a compassionate, loving, or in general doing what is to be done. Doing what is right to be done. But Swamiji, does it give joy? You see, you will find it. So sharing. Sharing your time, not don't think anything else. The Swami talks about some money. Sharing your time. Lending your ear. People need a ear right now. Yeah. No, Swamiji, nobody listens to me. That's how Swamis are really, we are always ready to listen. Yeah. People want to talk a lot. They have a lot of pressure. That's also reaching out action. Yeah. When you see the person is relieved, when you listen to the person, you see the person is relieved. Do you have a pain or a joy? This joy is not a joy of arthakama. Right? Seeing a beautiful tree, you have a joy. Seeing a person in pain, do you have a joy? No. Seeing a person who is relieved from the pain, you have a joy. Different joy. It's a different joy. Yeah. It's a different joy of doing something which is right. When I say you relieve a pain of somebody, that's a right action. I don't think here in this audience will say, no, it's a wrong action. Out of your own insecurities, you may say, well, Swamiji, it is good, but I don't want to do it because I will be exploited, this, that. That's another thing. But from your heart, you cannot say it's a wrong action. It is not wrong. In fact, if you are in pain, you expect the same thing from others. You want to be loved, you want to be being an object of compassion of others. You want to be, to be helped. In fact, you want the whole world to help you. That's another thing. Yeah, you want the whole world to help you. So this is a joy born of doing something which is in your hand because you have a free will. The joy born of contacting a sense object through your senses may give you joy, may not give you joy, even though it's a desirable. Many times what we desire, and when we really get it, in that experience of that object, sometimes we don't get that joy, or maybe getting a less joy. All depends upon prarabdha ultimately, right? But this is a joy born of your own free will, doing. It's in your hand. And therefore, definitely when this is there, doing right and doing what I like are two different things. Generally, they don't match. What is right to do, generally what I don't like to do. What is right to do, I don't like to do. What is wrong to do, I like it to do. Yeah. That's how it is. And therefore, basically, if you enjoy what you do, well, life becomes very simple. This is with this motto that you are reaching out. Why you are reaching out? I'm adult. Look at the creation. Any adult. Look at the creation. Any adult contributes, reaches out. You are a part of creation. You have become an adult. In fact, society expects an adult to contribute. Society doesn't expect a child to contribute. Child needs support, child is a consumer. But when you become adult, it's a common sense. In fact, the whole creation is running because of the contribution of the entire cosmos. Everyone contributes, living, non-living things contribute. Therefore, if you contribute, you are in harmony with the creation. You are in harmony with the Ishvara. That gives you joy. Whenever you are in harmony with the Ishvara, it gives you joy. Therefore, doing this, the Purushartha of dharma gives you joy. Doing right, what is to be done, doing what is to be done gives a joy. Many things, and you see, when you do that, there is a self-acceptance also. There is a self-acceptance. Yeah. Like even taking walk. I will give you now our day-to-day living example. Taking walk. Doctors advise you should take walk. Your weight is increasing and your HbA1c is now jumping. And doctor says, take care, otherwise it will be more problem. And you also murmur inside, I have to take walk. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And if you don't do, every day, the day just goes without that, at the end of the day, what is your feeling? Very good. You have done something good. No. In your own eyes, you fall. That's called self-rejection, self-non-acceptance. You know what is right. You have a value, but you don't do. So even, taking a walk, doing certain exercises, even visiting a doctor. So my appointments is there and you keep postponing. It's the right thing to do, but you don't do. Or doing vacuuming, laundry, everything. What is right to do, if you do. What is right to do, you decide to do and you do. Perhaps while doing you may not be having a joy, but once you finish, there is a joy. There is a self-acceptance. Yeah. Wherever there is a self-acceptance, there is a joy. Wherever there is a joy, there is self-acceptance. It is all Vedanta. In Arthakama Purushartha, basically, you have fulfilled many desires. Yet so many unfulfilled are there, and they were creating all these emotional disturbances. And with those disturbances, there is self-non-acceptance. When you are angry, there is no self-acceptance. Whenever there is sadness, there is no self-acceptance. Whenever there is fear, there is no self-acceptance. You are struggling for self-acceptance, honestly. You are struggling for that. Unless you have the Purushartha of a dharma, there will not be self-acceptance. Mere Arthakama Purushartha will not give that. This is Purushartha which gives you self-acceptance, because you are able to do what is to be done. In the process, you are not fulfilling your likes and dislikes, right? You are not fulfilling your likes and dislikes. They don't get nourishment. So automatically their pressure reduces. As their pressure reduces, our anger, etc., sadness, etc., also reduces. Could you follow? Therefore, once you have a Purushartha of a dharma, you are really growing emotionally. So basically, any pleasure that comes out of your maturing process is quite different from that Kama Purushartha. It's entirely different. Here you are growing. There was no emotional growth. Even though you are getting various objects, sensory objects, as a Kama pursuit, but you were remaining the same emotionally. Fragile, very fragile. A person with lots of likes and dislikes is very fragile to any emotional disturbance. In fact, more ragadvesha, more anger also. Yeah. So this person with a self-acceptance, and more he is reaching out, more secure he feels. When insecurity is more, you are a grabber, not a contributor. When you are a contributor, understanding this, that gives me a joy which is a joy of a different nature, of different quality. You contribute more, you feel more secure. More insecurity results into a grabber, consumer more. Anyway, so basically this is a dharma pursuit, which will give you a self-acceptance. Yet, the fear of mortality won't go. Because everyone takes oneself as even a person who is doing a dharmika, we can call this, a dharmika, a religious person, still he takes himself to be a mortal being. He is not free from this. So we have one more Purushartha, and that is called freedom. It could be freedom from fear of anything. It could be freedom from mortality. It could be freedom from insecurity. It could be freedom from displeasure. It could be freedom from limitation. It could be a freedom from any lack, etc. But there is another goal where you really, gaining which, you totally become free from all these issues. That's the final growth while living as a human being, to gain freedom. Anyway, so there is only one thing which is commonly sought after by all the people, and that is freedom. Even though our ends seem to vary from person to person, or keep changing in a given person's life, there is one fundamental end behind all of them, and that is freedom. Through Artha also you want a freedom. Freedom from what? Insecurity. Through Kama you want a freedom. Freedom from what? A displeased self. Why do you seek objects of pleasure? Because I see myself as a displeased being. So you want a freedom. So ultimately, behind all pursuits, ultimately, what? The Purushartha, the Parama Purushartha is this freedom, moksha. Anyway, and this moksha, the freedom, is not simply gaining an object or having a certain experience. This freedom is centered on oneself. You want to see yourself free, free from insecurity, free from lack, free from limitation, free from any kind of a displeasure. You want to see yourself. So freedom is not an object like Arthakama, which I want to gain it. Freedom is centered on subject. Right? It is centered on subject. You want to see yourself free. That we call as a moksha. And even though it's a positive pursuit, really speaking, it is always described in a negative way. Like, two people are there, one who has gained a freedom from, he's suppose on a parole. Then he goes out. He's not in jail. The other person is in jail. He doesn't have a freedom of this mobility, etc. He also wants to come out, but he doesn't have. So freedom from shackles of jail he wants. Negative. So always freedom described in a negative way. Like even a old person wants a freedom because he slipped somewhere and he has a fracture and now he has these crutches. He wants freedom from these crutches. Always described in negative sense. Or even a child. Child also, takes help of a mother's sari or takes help of a wall in order to walk. But it wants ultimately a freedom from that dependency. So, when we say freedom, moksha is freedom from something I do not want. And because the moksha is a purushartha, a human and common to all, while wanting to be free is not peculiar to me alone, everyone wants to be free from things that are common to all. And that is freedom from insecurity, or freedom from mortality, freedom from lack, freedom from limitation, every human being wants. And what we are going to discuss is freedom from mortality is also a common goal of human being. Shastra never discusses any personal goal that you set. Shastra basically addresses the humanity. And therefore, Shastra discusses a common goal for all human beings. So you want a freedom, or freedom from mortality, etc., is also a common goal, universal goal. It's not a personal or private goal. So one doesn't want to be in a position of being limited, being a mortal. One seeks a freedom from mortality, freedom from limitation. And no other goal comes near to this goal. How much one has achieved in terms of health, wealth, or certain external comforts, they do not count basically, because the gain of anything which is desirable or avoidance of anything which is undesirable does not solve the problem of mortality. Right? So even number of ragadveshas you fulfill Desirable you gain. Avoid undesirable. Keep doing whole of your life. They cannot solve the problem of mortality. And therefore, all other goals definitely subserve this goal of freedom from mortality. And fear of death, of course, is not determined by maintaining one's health, because anything one does to keep the body going does not work against mortality. So the physical body is continuously aging despite one's efforts, and this only confirms that one is basically mortal. So as long as one concludes that he is or she is a mortal, the fear of death will remain. And this fear is not a private, it's a universal. One wants to avoid that because he is mortally afraid of the death. So that fear of death, etc., in general fear centered on oneself is called samsara. One wants to get rid of samsara means one wants to get rid of the fear. It includes fear of death also. Now we have to discuss little more serious issues. That this a sense of mortality centered on I is a reality or it's a myth, that we have to discuss. So few things I will present to you today, and tomorrow we'll analyze how I am immortal, etc. I am Brahman, etc. We'll discuss that. But today I will like to show you that seems to be some error in this. I am subject to death is not a reality. There is an error in that. For that I am presenting something. So death can happen in many ways. But whatever be the cause, in death itself there is no variety. The causes which brings a death are various, starting from time, disease, anything. But in a death itself there is no variety. So it appears that factors external to me cause my death, my destruction. So I have to keep them, all of them, away in order to survive. So to say that I am mortal means I am subject to death. Now we'll analyze this. Everyone has this thing in head. I am mortal means I am subject to death. In this statement, I am subject to death, really speaking, I am object. And the factors which causes death becomes subject. Because they do an action and I become an object of an action. They destroy me, means definitely they are subject of the action of destroying me. I am object. Could you follow? I am subject to death means basically I am become the object, and those factors, well, they become subject. They push me to the death. Let's say the time. If time is a destroying factor, it becomes the subject and I become the object. So whatever the causes are there, starting from time, there are many subjects which are independent of me. Time is independent of me. So there are many subjects independent of me. They attack me. They bring change in me and ultimately push me to death. So I am no longer the subject, but have become an object to be pushed around by these subjects, starting from time, etc., who will destroy me. Is it true or not? I become an object and something else is a subject. We will have to analyze it. Could you follow now? Yeah. So, to say I am a mortal involves a presupposition that I become an object of some action. But in fact, I always remain the subject. I always remain aware of the object. I am independent of the object. Now let's take an example. Suppose I say, he slaps me. Right? He slaps me. Now here, even though the word me is basically is the grammatical object of the sentence, and he becomes the subject. Literally speaking, the sentence, he slaps me, means he slapped my physical body. Is it not true? He slapped me, means he slapped my physical body. And which this physical body is object, not a subject. Why? Because I am aware of that physical body which has been slapped. Therefore, he slapped me. Grammatically, that me is an object. But what is that me? It's a body. And if it is a body, then I am aware of that body. Therefore, therefore definitely, he has not slapped I. I has not become a object yet. Because I am aware of that body. Like another example I will give you. He hurts me. Swamiji, he hurts me. Okay. So, he hurts me. In that sentence, grammatically, he is a subject, me is object, right? But literally speaking, he hurts my mind, which I am aware of. That's how he comes to Swami and tells that this person is hurting me, because he knows his mind which is hurt. And therefore, literally speaking, when he says me, and therefore me means the I, and means that I become an object, yet it has not become an object. Could you follow? Could you follow or not? Yeah. So basically, the subject by definition, is a conscious being. Because he slapped me means the physical body, and therefore it is not a subject because I am aware of that. Still I am a subject. I am conscious of that body which has been slapped, etc. And therefore, subject by definition in Vedanta is the conscious. While anything I am conscious of is an object, and that is not conscious, because all that I see, hear, taste, etc., smell, cognize, is all inert. All inert. So objects are never aware of me. I alone am aware of them. And so, for the subject to become an object, subject must become inert. To become an object in our definition, could you follow what I am saying? So, to become I as an object of an action of destruction and time, etc., is a subject, well then I should, as an object, the definition of the object is I should be inert. But I is never inert. I is always a conscious being. When you say the I, automatically a self-revealing consciousness is there. Therefore, definitely looks like that there is an error of subject-object. When you say, I am subject to death, I am subject to time. Time is a subject and I am an object, basically. Well, I always remain a subject. I can never become an object of anything. And the definition of subject is one who is aware of everything. Definition of object is which is inert. Subject is aware of the object, and therefore time can never become a subject. I always remain as a subject. To take myself as an object of an action called of destruction doesn't look like it is true. Looks like there is a subject-object error. That subject-object error should be resolved. Perhaps then I am mortal, that idea also may go away. We have to see that. So tomorrow we'll see how I am immortal Brahman. Whole class tomorrow we'll see gradually how I am immortal Brahman, timeless Brahman, due to subject-object error, while I take myself as a physical body, which is object of I, object of awareness, I am conscious of the body, and I take that object as a subject and say I am having a death, I am mortal. Could you follow? So this is what? The exposure to the Vedantic teaching is to resolve subject-object error. Understanding the subject free from all these attributes of the object. Understanding the subject free from the attributes of object, called body, mind, senses, etc. So that's what we will discuss tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.